We're here this evening with Canton Law Director Dir Martuccio, and the occasion is last week he was the recipient as the Canton Law Director of a couple letters. I'll call one a primary letter and then a follow-up, where local civic activist and attorney Craig Conley asked Law Director Martuccio to look into prosecuting Stark County Treasurer Gary Zeigler, reinstated Stark County Treasurer Gary Zeigler, on a big number of statutes that Conley elaborated on in the letter. So, Law Director Martuccio, your reaction?
My reaction, thank you for asking and for being on your blog. Our reaction is it was a well-written letter. Craig Conley is a very bright lawyer, very experienced, did a lot of research, and we appreciate it. And essentially what he's saying is he believes that under Ohio law, Gary Zeigler acted in dereliction of his duty. And there are certain circumstances under which being derelict in your duties as an official can constitute a crime. Craig Conley cited some examples of laws where he thought it was clear the treasurer had to follow certain duties, and by not following those certain duties, he was derelict. What we're doing is continuing to research that, because of course the state auditor, the county prosecutors, the county commissioners, they've had months and years to look at this with the help of the U.S. Attorney. We have had it for 2 business days, essentially. So we want to evaluate the laws that are cited, because this is a very novel, seldom used approach. There is some case law that we want to read. We want to evaluate the credibility of the evidence and the witnesses we'd have to call. So I'll probably end up having to contact the state auditor. And we may yet contact the county prosecutor to see how they can help, if they can, because they've had the case in a civil way. As you know, there are a lot of things going on. There's a civil action to get the money back. There are bond issues. So this, though, is different. This is criminal. And for your folks out there, that means the burden of proof is much higher on the state. We'd have to show beyond any reasonable doubt, ultimately, that every element of an alleged crime had been committed. The first threshold is probable cause, and that's where the research and the analysis come in. So it's going to take a little while to flesh it out and make sure that there are grounds, because you don't want to proceed lightly when you charge anyone with a crime. Even though a lot of money was involved, the Supreme Court was careful to say, in their opinion, there wasn't a crime, at least under the statute they looked at, or malfeasance. So we're looking at it from a different approach, thanks to the suggestions of lawyer Craig Conley. Our chief prosecutor for the city is appointed by me. His name is Ty Horitz. He's a very good prosecutor, and they'll be looking at it more closely.
A timeline?
I wish I could give you a real hard figure on that. I know that the statute of limitations, meaning the amount of time within which we can bring a case, is extended in this case. Usually it's 2 years for a misdemeanor. This is a misdemeanor and not a felony. But in the case of public officials, we've got some wiggle room. So even though it seems urgent, we want to make sure we do it right. So it could be weeks, months before we have a clear decision on whether the law, the facts, the witnesses, and the various agencies and enforcement people will need to come together to make it happen.